charge on my battery, but there's a plug somewhere close by, right?
Yep, right up beside that lamp.
All right, we are just getting set up. We'll be ready to start in about 1 minute for everybody who's online. Ready to start in about 1 minute for everybody who's online. Start in about 1 minute for everybody who's online. All right. So welcome to the inaugural attempt to do a web streaming through the CTL. Phyllis is going to drive, and we're going to have you take a look at what she's doing on the screen. So you won't get to see her lovely face, but you'll get to hear all her brilliance. So I'll turn it over to Phyllis at this point.
Hey everybody, glad to have you out there joining, and those are here in the room with me. One of the things that I really like about Microsoft is the Outlook calendar. But before I get started on that, I just want to kind of tell you what we're going to be going over today. One thing that we're going to go over is some email organization. That's going to be a short, quick tip that I'll share. I have started implementing that. You'll see when we get started that my old version, and then you'll see my new version at the same time. Then I'll talk to you about scheduling some recurrences on scheduling, like if you have classes and you want to show yourself out of your office during those class times, you can do that with recurrences. And then finally we're going to talk about the scheduling assistant and how to use that to work on getting groups of people together, and by just looking at their calendar. You don't have to pick up a phone, you don't have to do anything except just look at the scheduling assistant, and you'll be able to find out when people are available. So the first thing I want to show you is a quick tip on email organization. Over here under my inbox, I've got all these folders, and that's the way that I used to keep up with things. And I figured out a way that kind of is better for me, and I hope will be better for you. Instead of having all of your email loaded up into your inbox and then having to scroll back and forth and see what you've done, what you haven't done, what you need to attend to. One of the things that I did over here under the inbox, you right click on your mouse, and then you can set up a new folder. And then what I did, I'll just do this as an example. You put a period and then whatever you want to call it. So what I'm doing a test right now. So that's already exists because I did that earlier. So what I did here is action. I called one action. So it's dot action. So it's going to show up at the top. If this gets sorted, then that is going to go to the top. And in this, when I get an email in my inbox, if there is action that I need to take with that, I will drag it over to this subfolder. If it's something that I want to read later and I just don't have time to do it, I will take it from my inbox. For instance, here's Carrie's email showing you with the link. So if I take that and it required some action for me, I would take that and drag it over into the action folder. Then when I am working in this file folder, I can go and I can see what is it that I need to be working on. These are some of the things that requires action for me. I can look at that. I see that. Now I can delete it. Comes right out of there. So this is kind of like my to-do list, but it's got all of the email attachments with it, if there are any, all of the email correspondence down through here, so that it's easier for me to know what I've got going on. I even created one here. It's a personal one that I'm looking at. And then here, these are things like if someone sends me an article, or if I see an article I want to read, that I can send it to myself through an email and drag it over here. And that helps keep me organized. You may come up with a different, you may come up with a different title, but whatever works for you. And then anything else, used to I would put them into these folders, but I have found that when I'm looking for something, it is a lot easier to go up to my deleted, click here, and search my deleted. So if I'm looking for SoftDocs, it all comes up here, and I don't have to go looking through all of these other subfolders. So that is just a little trick that I learned. I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can always email me. Of course, that's my email address right there. And I can help you out with that.
Do you know how long things stay in that deleted folder? Do they ever expire at some point?
I think they stay in there. You can archive them. And then once you archive them, they'll move into an archive folder. And so that way you can not have everything there. And you can go in there and clean that stuff out at any time. I'm not real big on that, so as you can see by date, if you go way down at the bottom, there's no telling what's down there. But and then occasionally I do archives so that I don't have everything right there and it bogs down the system. All right, so the next thing I wanted to show you is the calendar. That's my main thing for today. So at the bottom, this is where I go. I'm using Outlook 2016. There are two ways that you can get to the calendar. Down here on the navigation pane, you see the calendar. And then up here at the top, where it says New Items, you can click on that. And you also see meetings, different things here. I always just go down here. And one of the things that I do, I right-click and I open in a new window. So that way I can go back and forth between my email and my calendar, and I don't have to open and close all the time. So right now that is my calendar for today, and you'll notice that all of these are in pink, and the bar here is darkened. That means I am busy during those times. This is something someone sent me, and that is a tentative. That shows tentative. I may or may not go to that, but I wanted it on my calendar in case I was interested in going. So the first thing I want to show you, for those who are faculty or who have reoccurring appointments throughout the week, throughout the month, you go to there we go. Go to a place where I don't have a lot of things going on. All right, let's say that Kerry Waller is in here with us. So let's say that he has a meeting on Mondays, or he has a class on Mondays, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 8:50. So you can go to any date that you want to, and you double click, and that will take you into your appointment. So I'm gonna, what's class you teach?
BUSA 1210.
BUSA 1210. And you're in what?
Camp 110.
110. All right, so there's the basic information. I've got that in there. And that is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and that probably started when we started classes, we'll say
January 9th.
January the 9th. Okay, so January the 9th is when we started, and we want to go up to reoccurrence. And this is regarding this particular appointment. So we want weekly. That is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. Here's the time. We talked about 8, so we're going to change that to 8. And we'll go to 9. Make it just an hour, give him an hour. And then here, the range of occurrence, we can say no end date. Well, of course, we have end dates this semester, so you can do end by, and you can go over to the end of the semester, which
Yep. That's right.
We'll go there. So now you see that he has a class from 8 to 9, weekly, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's starting on Wednesday the 9th, and it will end on May the 3rd. You click OK, and now you save it, and that will show up. There it is, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So if I want to take that out during spring break.
If you want to take that out during spring break, that's a little more complicated, you can, what you can do, let's see, when is, excuse me, when is spring break?
March 11th.
Let's go to March 11th.
We all knew that one.
Yes, everybody in here knows that one. All right, so we have March 11th. That up here, I've got spring break, no classes. I can take that, delete occurrence. It takes that out. When you go over to the 13th, you can click that.
Are you right clicking?
I am right clicking. Delete occurrence. And then on Friday, you right click, delete occurrence. So now it will still be on the calendar every other time, but because you went in on spring break and took it out, it no longer is on your calendar. So you can take out one occurrence at a time. All right, same thing if you have a Tuesday, Thursday class, and of course you do that, you double click, go up to the reoccurrence, and here's where you can change it to Tuesday, Thursday. Another thing that you can do is if you have an appointment that occurs it's not every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's not every third Thursday, then what you might want to do is, here's the weekly, you want to do it monthly on the second Tuesday. So let's say you have a meeting with your chair or your supervisor, and you can go in and say, monthly on the second Thursday, I have this. You save it, and then you go back in and you can say monthly, and you want to say it's on the fourth Tuesday. So now you've got the second and the fourth. You do those separately, but then you've got them both on there. And if anybody has any questions, I believe you can put those in, and Carrie will let me know if there are any questions and be able to assist with that. So there is that's how you set up a reoccurrence. Other things that you can do in here, you can show your time is free, you can show your time is working elsewhere. If this is something you've put on your schedule and you're not sure, but you want to hold that, you can make it tentative. So if I do a test here on March the 1st and I save it, you see that is holding that area so that I don't schedule anything else into it. And if anybody else is looking at my calendar, they'll know that there's a possibility that time slot is not available.
I have a question.
All right.
So a lot of times I'm copied on emails to Dr. Taylor for appointments.
Mm-hmm.
So when I accept it, to let that person know I saw it, I'm going to make sure it's on Dr. Taylor's calendar. Obviously it's going to pop up on my calendar, but I'm not really busy during that time. It's just sitting there as a reminder for me to remind him. Is there a way for me, and so it looks like I'm busy during those times when I'm not.
Okay.
So is there a way for, even if it's on my calendar, to go in there and tell it that I'm not really busy?
Yes.
But I'm always busy.
Yes.
Y'all know that.
Just not for that reason.
Just
Right.
for not that reason.
I didn't mean
All
to
right.
make it sound like I don't have anything to do.
So, for this instance, let's say that this was something, and what has happened, Katie shares a calendar with Dr. Taylor. Many of us share a calendar with our supervisors, and we get information that will come to our calendar and to our supervisor's calendar. The supervisor will, of course, click and accept and all that, but I'm not going to be in that meeting, so it's going to show up, and it's going to show up as tentative. All you have to do is right click, and then you want to show as. You can show that as free. So now it's still on your calendar as a reminder that Dr. Taylor has something on his calendar, and it's not showing you as busy.
Gotcha.
So if someone else is looking at your calendar, which when we look at the scheduling assistant, that'll be a little more clear for you. But if someone else is looking at that scheduling assistant to see if you're available or not,
Right.
they won't see that you're out, and you still have that information available for you to see your boss's schedule. So for those of us who share a lot, that's a good thing. So there we have that. All right, so I've talked about recurrences, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Other things you can do, things that I do, I go in and I'm not the registrar, but I'm going to say update academic calendar, because what I do is I take all of the information from the academic calendar, put it on my calendar, and then I'll drag it over to my boss's calendar, and I'll just put for DKS, Dan Silver. All right. I don't do that all the time. I only have to do that once a year. So under the recurrence, here again, you can set up a yearly appointment. You can tell it when you want to do it. I'm not going to do it in March. I want to do it probably about June, and make sure that that is all that information is on his calendar, and I won't have a end date, because every year I'm going to be doing that. So those are reminders for me that I put on there that are not meetings. They're just appointments that I put out there, so that, for instance, I do payroll and I send information out to the admin assistants reminding about things. So I make sure that I put a reminder in my calendar to remember to remind them to send information, or for me to update critical information for them. And then that way it shows up on my calendar yearly. I don't have to think about it anymore. It just automatically pops up.
Is there a way to tell it if it hits on a weekend
Yes.
that you want it to be the Friday before, or whatever, however that works?
Well, when you do your recurrence, like if you do yearly, you could do it instead of March the 12th. You can say on the first Monday of the month, or first Monday of, here it says March, and let's say I was going to do it the first Monday in July, so that I know that come August everything is on the calendar. So you can pick, all of these have drop downs, the first Monday, the last Monday, second, third, fourth, and then days of the week. If you do a weekly, you can do here where you pick, and you don't, of course, pick the weekend. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Any other questions in the room?
No, you probably are fixing to cover this anyways, but that reminder can be very helpful too. So if you just have something that's going to be scheduled in some time in March, and it might fall on a Sunday, if you have that 2-week reminder ahead of time, then you know something's coming.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
Very
cool.
good. Pointed out here, not only can you do the show as busy, you can also set your reminder, and you can say none, I just want it to be on my calendar. You can set it for a few hours before. You can set it up to 2 weeks before. So
They actually set it for more than that.
yeah, that's the right there is where I see it. What have you said?
If you click on that, then you can overwrite 2.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And now if you go in there, you can actually overwrite that too.
Ah,
You can
good.
change it to 8, 4.
4 weeks.
Yeah. Mhm.
There we go. Thank you. So there you can set the reminder. So you've got reminders all the way up to that time. If it's a meeting time, like today, I had a reminder that this was happening, and I only set it for like 2 hours ahead of time. So you can do that. So any other questions about setting up a recurrence or any of these categories that I've talked about right now? We'll do some more. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel out of that. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about the scheduling assistant. And this to me is the greatest tool in here. And if people are using their calendars, then scheduling groups of people is super easy. You don't have to make phone calls, you don't have to do any of that. You can just look at this and you can get groups of people together. So here, I'm just gonna call this group meeting. It's hard to see that from here. And we're gonna say that this is in Camp 207. So I've got my basic information there. I want to invite people, so there's two ways you can do it. We're gonna say invite attendees, and then it's gonna come up just kinda like you do in your email. You can, if you've got people like Katie Coker, I invite her quite a bit, so she's gonna show up. Let's say it's somebody I'm not used to. I can hit the to button. Of course, it pulls up the global address, and I can type in Kenyon. He's required. Put him in there.
So if it's someone really unusual like Kenyon.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
very
All right.
unusual, like Kenyon. And let's see, and then here's Sandra Mahan. We'll put her in there. And because I know that Dr. Silber has a very packed schedule, I'm going to put him in there. So now I've got these 4 people plus myself that I'm going to be trying to coordinate a schedule for. Now over here you'll see there are some suggested times, but you also see that there are some conflicts. So you can look here and see if you can find anything, but what is easier to do is to go into what is called the scheduling assistant. So when you click on this, all your attendees are here on the left hand side, and then across the top we have the dates and then the times throughout the day. And then each of those folks, their calendars are going to populate. Now, Dr. Silber, I can see what is on his calendar because I have access to that. However, I don't have access to Katie. So here you can see that it appears that during that week of spring break, she may be out. So let's say we're going to try to go a little sooner than that. So today is back here somewhere. We're going to look at next week. We'll start looking at next week. Sandra? Yeah. Yours is all across there, so it's not really connecting real well with Sandra's. May have to make a phone call on that one if we come up with a different time for everybody else.
Does she have to give you permission to see her calendar?
No.
Interesting.
No.
I don't know why, because I'm
And that one,
looking to see.
no free busy information can be retrieved. So I'm not sure.
I'm not.
So could be a system error. Something I'll check into. But so we can see that up here we have these small gaps. The blue is that everybody in that list is busy during that time. But if you see these small gaps up here, that helps you to see that that is an open time slot. So here we could go to 4 o'clock, we can drag it out to 5 o'clock, and that's our meeting time. Let's see, let's add. So Perry Reddick, he's also a very busy person, and so we can look over in here, and you start seeing it gets really difficult to find a time. But one of the things about this is that it does help you look at all of the calendars at one time. Let's see. So Kerry Waller, as you can see, I can see his calendar whether he's busy or not, but I cannot see, like I can with Dr. Silber, where he has given me permission to look at his. I can see his calendar.
I'm a very private person.
But if I have permission to look, there are others, and I won't pull theirs up, but I do have permission to look at other people's, other folks' calendars, and if I was to pull them up, I would be able to see this information. So, But this helps you to, the scheduling assistant is what helps you to see if all of these people are available at a particular time. So I'm just gonna pick March the 19th from 8 to 9. And then what I'm gonna do is go back over to the appointment. So now I know that all of these people are available. It's a group meeting. We're gonna have it in Camp 207. I've cleared that with a facilities request form. Or, actually in this case, since it's camp, I've called Katie. So that information is now there. I know that that's accurate, but there is a document that I want them to all have. Well, I could send it to them by email, but the better thing to do, go to Insert, attach a file. I'm going to browse this PC, and I'm sure there's something here. Wait a minute. I know that, oh, this is not my computer. I had one earlier. Well, anyway, there's a, this is not my computer, I apologize. You would just pick whatever file it is, and then you would insert it and open it. And it would populate. Under here, it would have the document attachment, and then if you have notes, you can say, please review the attached before the meeting with suggestions.
And food.
And food. So there you have that, and there would be an attachment there, and all of that information is there for you. You go to the meeting, you show it as busy, you can change this, and you want to make sure that if they're involved in something, they get a reminder. I know this is 8 o'clock in the morning, but we'll say, you know, we're going to remind them. It's going to pop up. So there you have your reminder set. You show it's busy. You show the default is that you request responses and allow people to give proposals. So when this goes out, if someone can't make it, they can propose a new time. That is an option.
So this is really cool. So the reason that we are getting these doodle polls is because you're assuming everybody does not have their calendar up to date?
That is correct.
Okay.
Not everyone utilizes Outlook.
And how do we convince them to? Because I would love it if everybody in our department did.
If we all used the Outlook calendar, then it would be much easier, especially for those who are scheduling groups of people. It would be a lot easier. So yes, sometimes we do default to the doodle poll. Many of you get that in your inbox. It says, hey, go out and do this doodle poll, and you collect information through this free service, doodle.com, and then we have to work off of that. But if everyone used their Outlook calendar, then you could use the scheduling assistant to go in and work your magic.
And we also have to figure out what our settings are, because I do use it, and I don't know why you can't see
Yeah,
it.
I'm not sure.
So I'll have to figure that out.
And that's a good IT question that I'll have to ask why
'Cause,
that's
I've
not
looked and
there.
it said that it would show you free busy,
Yeah.
so.
Another thing that you can do is you can mark it high importance. You can categorize it. If it's real important, it'll come up like that. See, it's red. Now it'll show on your calendar in red. I'm not as familiar. I know you can do a Skype meeting, but I'm not familiar with that just yet. So today I just wanted to show you the scheduling assistant and how to do reoccurrence. You can, if you get something and you're not going to be able to make it, but you want to send somebody in your place, you can forward this. Let me see. We're gonna. You guys okay with me sending them? I don't want to
Yeah.
see.
Well,
So that's
we'll
it.
take
You
Dr.
guys
Silver
will
out of that.
know. Send anyway. And what day did I do that? So the 13th. Group meeting. what day I did it. So, excuse me. So for colleague team,
I
IT.
did it on the 19th of
Good,
March.
thank you.
Yeah.
I was talking and didn't look. Okay, so March the 19th, there we go, group meeting. So here I have this, I want to forward it, and I'm gonna forward it to Vicki Turner. And now I send that, and Vicki Turner will get this information, and it gets added. And you can send the update, and it says I forgot to attach a file. Yes, I did. Alright, so here you send updates only to the ones added or deleted, or you can send it to all attendees. All attendees don't need to know, so I'm just sending it to Vicki.
Do you
And-
need to accept so you can show them how you can see it?
Kenyon
I see,
declined your
I see
meeting.
Kenyon declined my meeting. Where is that? Response has been received for this meeting. That's where I usually look,
I think you just click on it.
right here.
Yeah, I just responded. Even though Kenyon declined.
Better things to
So
do.
Sandy Mahan, she accepted. And they're usually at the top here where it says no responses have been received for the meeting. I am not on my personal computer, I'm on the CTL computer.
Oh, that's why.
So that may be it. But here where it says no responses have been received, you should be able to see that Sandra Mahan accepted that meeting, on yours, it would be different, but, you would also see that Kenyon Gannon declined the meeting. So it'll say zero, how many responses received, how many accepted, how many declined.
Now, is it possible to turn off the emails updating you for that? Like if you've got 20 people coming, you don't necessarily want 20, emails saying yes, no, otherwise.
For me as the person receiving it.
As the organizer, yeah.
As the organizer, that is a possibility. I don't think so. I've not tried to do that.
Is there
and
a way
it
to turn
doesn't-
off the emails so you don't keep getting them?
And I don't get
There should be.
emails. They just populate into this. I don't get an email that says
Okay.
you
All right,
accepted or not.
Ah, okay.
At least I don't think I do.
well then it is turned off.
I think I do, yeah.
Maybe I do. Alright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Alright. So it does pop up in there. So
I usually just delete them.
I just
Right,
delete.
yeah.
It's another way for me to see that, Dr. Gannon just
It's just kind of antisocial.
ignored me.
That's all.
So, alright, then you have that, and again, you can, here's tracking, view tracking status. Responses, see, if I was on my desktop, I believe these would populate, and you would be able to tell who has responded. But since this is not my primary, I'm guessing that's the reason why. Anybody have any questions? Here you can send a message to the people who are attending your meeting. So I've got that highlighted. I can say contact attendees. I want to reply all with an email. I want a new email. That's going to pop up. And this is an email. And I can send them something.
Huh.
Alright, and then for signature, if you have not created a signature line, you can go here. You want a new one, and I'll just call that PH. And here you can put thank you, put your name, your title, and whatever office you're in, however you do your, okay. It'll populate. if I click new, it's gonna populate. Now that I have it set up, it'll just automatically come up.
How did you send an email to everybody?
While you have that highlighted at the top where it says meeting,
Okay, okay.
then it says contact attendees, and you can do a new email, or you're gonna reply to all. And here's where the meeting information is showing up. And so they'll have all of that for the original appointment, and then you can discuss it here above, regarding the meeting referenced, or if you are referenced below, blah, blah, blah. And here
If you
you
send that,
have
Dr.
that.
Silver's gonna get that as well.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you. I probably should,
And Vicky.
and Vicki, and everybody. Okay.
Mickey already declined you, I don't know if you saw it.
She's not. So that's where you can send that information. And then if you need to attach another document, you can do that. I don't know what that is. It looks like something. So there's where you can attach a file. And now you send it off. You can, of course, kind of like Word, you can, anything in your message, you can use all of this basic text and change your text, make things larger, smaller.
So if you need to edit the event, like if you decide it needs to be a different time or a different location, are you better off to just send an email like you just showed us to contact the attendees, or do you actually go in there and edit it and resend?
I usually edit and resend.
That's what I thought, but it really wouldn't matter how you do
No.
it.
No.
I bet it's fewer steps if you edit and resend for everybody
Yes.
involved.
I mean, if I've
That's
been,
probably true, because then it's gonna jump on their calendar,
Yep.
where you're just contacting them, it wouldn't do it. Okay,
Right.
that makes sense.
so let's say that, Dr. Gannon and Vicki declined. So now I've got 2 of these people out of all of them that are not gonna be there, and those are important people that I need at this meeting. So then what I can do is I can go back up to the scheduling assistant, and I see that I'm gonna go, oh look, here is a time from 11 to 12 on Thursday the 21st, and I am
I'm
going
free.
to send that. And Sandy's free. There you go. So now I've updated it. Now it's gone on the 19th. It's taken it off their calendar. And you go over to the 21st, and there it is. Now it's there instead.
Okay, so do that again. Did you push the word edit somewhere, or you just simply went in there and changed
I
it?
just simply went into the scheduling assistant
And just picked another day?
picked another day and time.
Gotcha.
So 11 o'clock's not gonna work now, because see, oh look, they've got stuff in there, that's actually my meeting, but, I'm gonna go to 3 to 4 on that same day. I've clicked it, and now when I send,
Okay,
it's gonna automatically go out to all those calendars and move it
okay.
to 3 o'clock. So you don't have to make any phone calls and say, hey, I'm moving this calendar time or anything. It's just, Dr. Gannon will look at his calendar and think he had a meeting, and oh, it's not there anymore. So, and chances are you've all corresponded at some point and talked anyway, but it's just a convenient way to update a calendar and just change it with a click of a mouse.
You can also go in there and cancel it from there too. I think
Mhm.
put a message about, no longer need to meet or whatever it is.
So, good point. So here, I'm going to, this meeting is canceled.
This
Up
meeting was
here?
always fake.
Cancel the meeting. Do you want to delete it? Yes. Oh, send cancellation. Now it's gone. And everybody on there will know because it's gone. Meeting is canceled. It probably popped up in
So
your
even though
email.
you declined it, you got the cancellation notice too, huh?
And even though he declined it, he probably
Oh, I
got that
accepted the
notice.
second window.
Yeah.
Ah.
So
'Cause she
here's
did
Katie.
this,
here's Vicki. And see, all of these things, as I look at them, I delete them. And if there's something here that I don't need, this is something I need, that's an action item. So I'm gonna go over here to my action, I'm gonna take Michelle, put it over there, now I know I have an action item. This is an invoice that needs to be paid, it's copied to the appropriate individuals, and I'm just copied on there for reference, but I know that it says +2 here. So these are all the people who've got that email. And I know that Jessica, being our budget manager, she's got this taken care of, so I don't need this, I don't need to keep it, I delete it. Here's where Kenyon accepted the meeting that's now canceled.
Those are my favorites.
So, back over to the, so anybody have any questions?
I like it.
No, it's good.
Good, good. You can, change your calendar permissions up here at the top. You can share your calendar with people so that they can see it. And then you give them specific instructions as to whether they can edit or whether they can just look at it. For instance, sometimes I'm working in the president's office. I can see his calendar, but I can't make any changes to it. So, that's not in my realm of responsibility, but I am able to look at it and see if he's available at one time or another and let somebody know, but I can't make any changes, of course, to his calendar.
Have you worked with distribution lists, setting up distribution lists, changing them at all?
I have, for email?
Yeah.
Yes. So let me get back over to the email. All right, well, let's see, it's actually here. This is the contacts, open a new window, and I have lots and lots of contacts here. You guys are seeing all my personal stuff. But let's say I want a new contact group. And this is the CTL participant. I can't see that far. All right, so here I've got it named. I can add members. I can do from Outlook contacts, from the address book, or if they don't work here, I can add their name and their email address. But let's say I want to add some members from Outlook contacts. It all comes up. Those are my personal contacts, but I want these to be all from here. So, like I said, Katie Coker, she's on here. Sandy Mahan is on there. Gannon, and I can just hit enter, and here we'll go, and I don't have to keep using the mouse. There's Sheila Turner, but I want Vicki Turner. You say okay, and now you have your list. Save that, go over to your email, and here, that is actually my list. Am I going to be able to get that? No, contacts, CTL, participants, right there. And now that, if you expand that, those are the participants I just put into that distribution list. So if you have folks that, your CTL team, or if you have a strategic initiative that you want to develop a distribution list, so that all you have to do is click that one, select that one group, and then everybody in that group gets that email.
So you go, if you want to edit that, you go to that same contacts link there.
Exactly. If
Yeah,
you
that's
want
the
to
one.
edit that.
It's always been stubborn to try and edit those for me for some reason.
So I'm going to open that again. So if I go to CTL, you could just type. What I did was I clicked over here in it, and I typed CTL, and it would automatically drop down here. I don't have to click a mouse or anything. You just type using the keyboard. So here I have these folks I want to pull it up. Kenyon Gannon is giving me a really hard time about this, so I decided that I'm gonna remove him.
Heard he can be
So
trouble.
there we go. I've taken him out. It's now just Katie, Sandy, and Vicky. The ladies have got it together, and we're gonna make some progress now. So you save, and now when you pull that up for a new email. Now here, the thing is that if you type CTL participants there, it will still come up, and you can just type it in, or you can use your drop down.
Awesome.
Any other questions? I do have a handout. If anybody who's watching would like that handout, you can email me, of course, phowell@piedmont.edu, and it's kind of like a little cheat sheet that I created when I was in the MAIT program, plug for that. I learned a lot in that program, and so this is actually the document that I created for one of my classes. So if you want that, I'd be glad to share that with you. And anybody else have any questions?
Additionally, we do have an assessment survey as well. If you're watching online and are willing to fill that out for me, if you could just send me an email, jkwaller@piedmont.edu, I will get that over to you, and the people in the room will be handed one right now. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you. Thank you.
Until next time.